Now we're back. Had to make some adjustments. We're back. Kai Asakura walking down to the cage. He had the Pride lady introducing him, or at least on his recording for his song. Now Pantoja's on his way down. Lights go black. Let's see what he comes out to. Many Men by 50 Cent. The crowd, the Vegas crowd, is singing along with the 50 Cent. Who knew? Who knew? That's amazing. Many men, many men wish death upon me, Lord. I don't. And he's coming out with the shaved head on his gangster shit. This is, we saw Hood Volkov earlier. This is Hood Pantoja. This is Hood Pantoja. Something special happened every time. I'm the greatest. Pantoja's feeling himself. Can't look to the sky. No. We got Hood Pantoja now. We had Hood Volkov coming out with the cornrows. Now we got Hood Pantoja coming out with Many Men. And then who would have known that Many Men would become a sing-along? The whole arena in Vegas is singing Many Men by 50 Cent. Congrats, 50. You're now a sing-along. You and that John Denver song, what is that, West Virginia? Sweet Caroline. All those sing-along songs. Add Many Men by 50 Cent into it. Put it in rotation. First time I've heard that. I mean, I'm sure 50 Cent concerts are singing Many Men, but I've never heard a sports arena start singing Many Men. And Pantoja's coming out. I feel like he always is serious, but tonight he has like a mean mug on his face. So hopefully that doesn't mean Kai Asakura is coming out and he's going to be able to strike with him because he's swinging, but I think he's going to fuck Kai Asakura up right now. He looks like he's in a bad mood. Looks like he has his game face on. Yes, Pantoja's in the ring. Hood Pantoja. Shaved his head. He has like a mean mug on his face, and he came out to 50 Cent Many Men with his chin chucked. Looking like he's about to make an example of Kai Asakura. Like he's insulted Kai Asakura as his opponent tonight. That Kai Asakura is one of the many men trying to take his throne, his crown. Oh, a lot of factors like that, too, tying into this, that he's never been finished. Kai Asakura is supposed to be a big finisher. He's got some nice knockouts in his career. Pantoja's 34. Kai Asakura's 31. Kai's 5'8". Pantoja's got long arms, though. He's only got an inch and a half reach disadvantage. But I saw it even when they faced off at the weigh-ins. Kai's definitely bigger, longer. Bro, even the way Pantoja's like pacing around right now, he's pacing like he's about to fuck somebody up. This is Hood Pantoja. Hood Pantoja. We got Jason Herzog as the ref. A good ref. He lets fights happen. Don't know about many early stoppages in his history. Bruce Buffer doing his intros. We got Kaya Sakura versus Alexandre Pantoja. Volkov was absolutely robbed. Why are you bringing up past shit, bro? You trying to bring me down? I think we saw a few robberies tonight. I think Volkov was robbed. I mean, Aljamain, all three of the fights, you have to say could have went the other way. No, I think the majority of people saw it how it should have been saw. I think Brian Battle got a gift. I think Evil got a gift, and I think Gan got a gift. The other two were a little bit closer than Gan. I thought Volkov clearly won, if not all 3 rounds, 2 of those 3 rounds. And then Aljamain, that fight comes down to the 3rd round. I feel like Aljamain won 3.5 minutes of the 3rd round, and Evil won the last minute and a half. And the whole time they were scrambling, granted, the most dominant moment of the fight, you could say, actually no, was when Aljamain slammed him on his head in that 3rd round. I was going to say it's when Evil trapped his legs and held him on the ground for 30 seconds. But no. Bad judging. This fight, too, usually like most 125-pound fights, it's going to be 25 minutes. That's why someone like Kai, whenever there is a knockout artist at any division, but especially 125, it's a big deal. Because usually 125 goes to a decision. But now, Kai's first time even fighting at this weight, really. Not 125, because he's made 126 before. But this is his first time making under 125. That pound, extra pound and a half, could be a lot to cut. So, how is his cardio going to look? Coming to America for the first time. Cutting that low for the first time. Fight's about to start. First round. Kaya Sakura. Pantoja. Who you guys got? Again, Hood Pantoja. He looks pissed. Pantoja's backing Kai up early. Oh! Big flying knee from Kai. Pantoja caught it, took him down, but Pantoja might be rocked. All right, maybe that hit the body. Pantoja's now backing him up with punches. Pantoja lands a left hook. Gets the takedown. Crazy start to this fight so far. I need to see that fucking knee. He landed a nice knee. Sakura back to his feet, has Pantoja up against the cage. Looked like he just kneed himself in the elbow. And Pantoja gets another takedown. Pantoja now on top of Kai in his guard. Kai's got one butterfly hook. But yeah, this is what I expected, was him to just try to take the crazy striking and the fancy shit out of the equation. And then Kai immediately landed a jumping knee. I got to see a replay of where that landed. But that was almost a highlight of highlights. Like the highlight right there. Like that would have been the highlight in the highlight reel type of flying knee. 10 seconds in. Kai just stood up. Pantoja lands a shot as he stands up. Now we're back on the feet. 3:10 left. A little Superman punch by Kai. Lands a front kick to the body. A low kick. Another low kick by Kai. Lands a right hand. Pantoja throws a couple of shots at the air. Kai circles off. Kai's definitely has Pantoja freezing a little bit. Pantoja is just waiting on him and kind of throwing like 2-3 punches afterward. Body kick by Kai. Oh, there you go. Pantoja just landed a right hand. .220 left. Kai tries to set up that flying knee again. That time I know where it landed. Landed to the body. A couple of oblique kicks from Pantoja. Friend you. I don't know how to friend you. Swing and a miss with a 1-2 by Pantoja. Kai went for a head kick. Pantoja blocked it, but eating those things on your arm when he gets a good wind up hurt. Good left hook into a low kick by Pantoja. Oh, little 1-2-3 landed for Pantoja. Oh, and a knee as Kai tries to back out. Low kick misses for Kai. 50 seconds left. Pantoja really keeps throwing a lead left hook into a right low kick. That time he threw it to the body, the low kick. Ooh, a little 3-punch land by Pantoja again. You know, he's definitely not throwing one at a time. Other than the oblique kick, that's the only thing he's throwing in ones, but he's throwing combinations. He's ending a lot of his combinations with the kick. There's another one, left hook into the body kick. Kai is just throwing one at a time. One big shot, trying to land it. Usually what you got to do, though, is that second and third is what's going to land. That's why I like what Pantoja's doing with the combinations. Hopefully he doesn't run into anything. Kai going to the well again with the flying knee. Pantoja hits him with a jab. 10-second clap. And that's the first round. I got to go with Pantoja in that one. I need to see the replay of where this knee landed. Oof. Just missed. Hit him in like the chest, but the... What is that? The thigh. Nice right hand landed by Pantoja. And they both look fresh, getting ready for the second round. I got it 1-0, Pantoja. One nothing Pantoja. Round two. I mean, Kai's still in it. Kai looks fresh. They're saying that Pantoja outstruck Kai 30-12 in that first round. Round two. Seconds out. There we go. I just now noticed that. After fucking my whole life watching this shit, they don't have a bell. Bing! At the start of each round. Nice jab by Pantoja. Good right hand landed by Kai. Pantoja dips under and tries to go for a takedown, gets the trip, and jumps right on his back. Good job of Kai shaking him off. Pantoja just literally monkey jumped on his back in the middle of a scramble. Now they're standing up against the cage. Pantoja's 1 foot on the ground, 1 hook in on his back, and he's got a body lock. Pantoja's on his back right now, standing. Has him pushed up against the cage. He almost won the fight in the first 30 seconds, missed by an inch. He threw a flying knee that hit Pantoja in the chest, but the thigh hit Pantoja. Nice takedown by Pantoja. And immediately throws the body triangle in. But Pantoja was looking good until that takedown. Now this is the most dominant control position on the ground that Pantoja's had yet. First round, when he got taken down, he was able to stand back up and get back to his feet. Right now, he's on the ground, away from the cage, with a body triangle. And this is Pantoja's specialty. He's like a Damian Maia. And I might have that. Referee's in the way. Referee. Oh, now he's got that. He's got that. And rear naked choke. Oh, Kai pulls the hand down. He switches to a short choke. He's squeezing right now. And Kai just went to sleep. Pantoja just choked Kai unconscious. That was beautiful. Hood Pantoja. So, yeah, that was how I figured it was going to go. If he took it to the ground, there was definitely a huge difference in skill level there. So, early in the second round, Pantoja by rear naked choke put him to sleep. So, I don't know anybody who grapples, but that's always one of the greatest things you could do to somebody. Is you're going for the rear naked choke, you're going for the rear naked choke. If you have it, and then they start defending, pulling the arm down, bam, right into the short choke. Even jumped on his back immediately to start that takedown. Jumps into a body triangle. You know, those 125ers like a spider monkey. And then, so yeah, has the rear naked choke. Kai pulls the arm down. Boom, you switch to the short choke. I used to bait people with that all the time. And then what happens with that is you think you're out. The guy thinks, oh shit, I'm out. No. This was the plan all along. As soon as they took him, as soon as he got on his back and they said that, you knew this is where that was going. Obviously his move. Very good grappler. Very good at the rear naked choke. And if Kai had anything for him going in this fight, it was his striking. Who? Gon tried to get a leg lock? Or Kai? $60. That was dominant. Other than that knee, Kai almost knocked him out with that knee. That was so close. I hope that that's what they show him and they ask him, were you rocked? Did this hit you? Watch my private video. Stop. Pantoja celebrating with the family. It's funny. Oh, so there he is. Gilbert Burns in the cage with him. They showed Pantoja's kids and were like, there's Gilbert with his kids. And it was actually Pantoja's kids. Because I know, despite them training at different gyms, Pantoja's at American Top Team. Gilbert's at Kill Cliff. I know a lot of the Brazilians are tight. Those two are tight. They don't train together. They live close, so they probably hang out. But yeah, didn't have it in him skill wise. I think there was a level on the feet. It was looking like it was 50-50, and on the ground it was a mismatch. I think Kai was just big and strong, and that's how he was able to stand up in the first round. But yeah, Pantoja like went for a trip, and then when Kai defended, he jumped on his back and latched the body triangle on immediately. EP Hart, I don't know what that means. Great fight. Great performance, actually, not fight. One-sided fight. I mean, I don't know how deep we all think that 125 is, but he's kind of cleaned out the division. And then even we're getting into now, we're going to start talking about him as one of the GOATs. Yeah, I could. Neither one was doing too much on the feet. They were both hitting each other, though. I don't know if Kai was winning. I would say it was 50-50. Kai landed that one big knee and a couple of low kicks. No, I think Pantoja dropped him in the first round. Did he just call out Demetrius Johns? Yeah, Pantoja was landing more. I don't know that was definitely not close on the feet. I mean 50-50 in the sense that the risk versus him taking him down, much greater percentage, much greater probability that he gets the finish on the ground. I don't know if Gilbert just got Pantoja's sweat in his eye or if Pantoja like headbutted him. Why did Golovkin say that he's proud of Rachmanov, or are you saying that? He definitely is. Rachmanov did good. He beat the Irishman. Pantoja showed, yeah, he just called out Demetrius Johnson, who I know is retired. That would have been a great call out. I mean, even still could be a great call out. I would love to see that, but Demetrius is older now. And he just retired, but he called out Demetrius Johnson and said, I am the GOAT now. Is Pantoja the GOAT? Nobody, I mean, would have to sit and look at both of their records. It's not like Demetrius Johnson went through the glorious 125-pound division. You know, he was just levels above everybody. And I remember the Tim Elliott fight that he won, but he had some issues with Tim Elliott. Who else? Lost to Cejudo, but that fight was close. I'd have to rewatch it to see how I'd judge it, a second time. But definitely, yeah, I'd have to look at Pantoja's resume and then look at DJ's resume. I know DJ had a lot more title defenses, so Pantoja's got a way to go for that. But he's definitely could be in the conversation against DJ. Oh, for sure, Daniel. The way he was taking him down, the way he was getting on his back, very impressive. I know the little guys move fast and have that ability, but the way he jumped on his back and threw in a body triangle like instantly, that was nice. Next Saturday, Covington versus Buckley. Then we got Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas. Then we got Islam versus Arman, Merab versus Umar. Sarukian. Arman Sarukian. So, yeah. The question now is Pantoja the GOAT at 125? Is he going to become the GOAT at 125? And how does his resume now stack up against Demetrius Johnson's resume? We're going to say DJ has the record for most title defenses, but then we got to look at who did he defend the title against. And I almost feel like Dodson, too, if I'm not mistaken, now that I'm thinking about it, gave DJ some problems. But yeah, DJ was really good. So Pantoja's definitely got a way to go. But definitely a conversation. This Mufasa movie. It's not broke. Stop trying to fix it. Making Mufasa movies. So, Pantoja looked good tonight. Now, was that a case of Shavkat not being as good as we thought he was? Or is Ian Gary better than we thought he was? That's the question with that fight. Yeah, and I do think Ian Gary's going to kick himself. I mean, granted, there's risks because Rachmanov hits hard, but he's going to be kicking himself when he watches that fight back and sees that he wasn't throwing combinations. Maybe he was thinking of the possible takedown or the possible counter, but one strike at a time isn't going to work against Rachmanov. Doo Ho Choi completely demolished Nate Landwehr. Bryce Mitchell looked very good against Kron Gracie, even though I don't know how high the ceiling was for Kron Gracie. But one thing he showed is don't pull guard in an MMA fight because it's not going to be good. Cyril Gane got a gift tonight against Volkov. Absolutely should have been 29-28 or 30-27 to Volkov. And then 3-2 Rachmanov. I did not see 3-2 Rachmanov. Maybe 4-1, but I did not see 3-2 Rachmanov. I'd have to rewatch it. Maybe the 4th round or 5th round to Ian Gary, but they would then what? Maybe give him the 3rd round? I don't know if he won the 3rd round. Crazy. Well, great night of fights. I enjoyed myself. And then I go to YouTube to get to the post-fight press conference, and the first thing I see is Gordon Ryan defends the use of steroids is the headline. Definitely going to watch that one later. Volkov absolutely got robbed. Definitely was a bad beat. What'd you have on it, JJ? Which ref?
We're not necessarily friends. I've not sat and had dinner with the guy. I've not had multiple deep, meaningful conversations. But I've trained for them.
Yeah, the judges were terrible. Pantoja won. Rear naked choke. Put Kai to sleep. Oh, I would have told you, bro. That was a tough fight to bet on, and I would have put my money on Luque. One-sided fight. Pantoja won the first round. Little bit of offense from Kaya Sakara. Then the second round, Pantoja just took him down, jumped right on his back, put him to sleep. Yeah, the UFC judges were terrible.
Charlie,
Yeah, the judges were rough tonight.
Paul, Damien, Landon, Lloyd, my wife, my little baby. I am
I
so
do think,
on him.
from what I remember, the biggest robbery of the night was definitely Volkov. I think Aljamain was robbed as well, and then the Brian Battle versus Randy Brown fight. I lean towards Randy Brown, but not a lot was going on in that fight. Who would be beaten? The refs, the judges, or the fighters? Yeah, I was impressed with Ian Gary in defeat.
I don't feel like I lost. Does that make sense? My hand might not have got raised today, but my energy did not feel it. I went in against the scariest man in the
Yeah.
world.
We need to, if we blow up, I'd imagine it's probably like that for other sport referees and judges. I could see that.
When at that point, that man looked like he was going to finish. Twice I had submissions on. Twice he was worried. On the feet, he didn't have that much success. I feel like I was winning the battle on the feet, hence why he kept shooting. For me, it's constant growth and evolution. And as you rise up the ladder, you look at the fight with Neil Magny, domination, start to finish. You look at the fight with Neil Magny or with Jeff Neal. I went out there, I beat a man who hits it truck. I beat him clean, I beat him efficiently, I beat him well. MVP, no one likes to strike at that. I went out, my community dismantled his striking, caught his kick, took him down, controlled.
It's funny, one thing about Ian Gary, he describes the fights way different than I think a lot of the fans see them. At least definitely the way I saw those couple of fights.
I have nothing but respect for everyone that I work with and everyone that I fight. I will be a champion one day. Today is a
You should never sucker punch anybody, but
I'm not that guy. 18 and
you know, the best thing he could have did was just walk up to them, be genuine, and just be like, "Hey, man, you did a fucking terrible job tonight. You're an asshole," and then walked off. And that probably would have meant more to them than the sucker punch. I mean, I don't think they cheat. They're just incompetent. What's that saying? You can't attribute malice to something like that. You know, you can't attribute malice to just lack of education on a subject.
I'm very proud, very grateful of all of my team and my entire family.
I know, but what instances are you talking about? Why would they cheat in Gane versus Volkov? Because they bet on the fight? Gane was a huge favorite to win by decision. That would have been the worst bet.
I have fucking no idea. They're like, short to rip. What you mean they feel fine, so it's what it is. Last one, I gotta go because my baby, I need to go home. Be my last one.
Every favorite didn't win. I thought Volkov won that fight.
Can't say you're what? You guys train together. You expect anything different from him in the fight, or
Definitely not Gane.
I expected Chad to bring everything he had. He brought.
Duho Choi was an underdog. Luque was an underdog.
I felt like I should almost every
And then Eric Anders versus Weidman was a pick'em.
success that he did.
And I think, I forget what the line closed at. Let me see. For Chiesa Max Griffin was a pick'em.
I stopped him on the feet, and then I was the one putting on chokes and submission. We've never seen a fight
Near even.
like that today. I'm very happy with my performance. My hand did not get raised, but I'm
Every favorite did not win, though. I don't know what you're saying.
thank you guys. I appreciate you.
I get what you're thinking, but that's not what happened. The Shavkov fight was definitely boring. I think both guys knew the outcome of a bad move. You know, they both felt each other in training. They both knew there was very, very small margin for error. Yeah. Anybody who took Volkov is fucking pissed, I'm sure. I thought that fight was clearly, and even I'm watching the UFC post-fight press conference, all everyone's saying is justice for Volkov, justice for Volkov, Volkov robbed. So yeah, that's the sentiment of the combat sports community. Volkov got robbed. He definitely did. I need to hear, too, Volkov's take on it. You know, like whenever a guy gets knocked out, if he protests, I'm like, oh, he still had something. But if they're fine with it, like Nate Landwehr tonight, he wasn't mad about that. Sometimes you know you're beat. But if Volkov got robbed and Volkov feels like he got robbed, that sucks. But Volkov definitely got robbed tonight. I'm seeing a lot of that all over social media, all over this YouTube video right now. Volkov robbery. But I took Sterling. Yeah. He had the fight won. He won majority of that third round. Technically, I think he should have won. But the fact that Evloev got on top of him at the end of the round, the last minute and 30 seconds of the round, and got a controlled position, I think is what stole and swayed the judges. Absolutely. But even Aljamain in that fight, though, for what Evloev is and Aljamain being a bantamweight, looked great. That he was out wrestling Evloev. I feel like even Aljamain's corner was saying, strike with him. Like, you're a better striker. He's going to make the mistake first. But, yeah. You know, a lot of times it's recency biased for a judge. It's kind of, that's why you ever hear coaches or even, you know, commentators, anything say, you got to win the first minute of the round, you got to win the last minute of the round. You try to win the whole round, but you got to also pace yourself. But I know in boxing, a lot of fighters, they flurry, start throwing a lot of punches at the last 30 seconds. I got to go against the grain. I am going to say Arman. I think Islam, I'm going to root for Arman. Because if Arman wins the second fight, then there'll be a third fight. If Islam just wins the second fight, then he's got a lot of work to do. And I like both guys. I'm entertained by both guys. You know, sometimes when you start to see a dominant champion, you want to see them beat and or tested. Why? I think they're very compatible. They both do a lot of the same things. I actually would put Arman as a better striker. And the first fight, if you've seen the first fight, was great. So they'll definitely be entertaining to watch. Never-ending scrambles. And it's, you know, when someone's so dominant, you want to see someone with a little bit of give back for him. So that might be a case of Arman putting some wrestling and some out grappling Islam a little bit. You know, I think of the Poirier fight. I think a lot of people, and I'm not the biggest Poirier fan, but I think a lot of people were cheering for Poirier when he was having moments against Islam. Like, oh, he is human. Like, unlike the Rocky versus Ivan Drago mindset. And I do think Arman will be an underdog in the fight. Gabriel Pantoja won the main. One-sided. Kaya Sakara had a few moments, nothing major in the first round, except for one knee that missed but almost knocked. Like, if it would have landed, it would have knocked Pantoja out, but it like hit him in the chest. And then other than that, a couple of calf kicks, maybe a punch or two, but Pantoja gave some striking back, landed some punches, some body kicks. And then the second round, even in the first round, he dropped him, took him down. And then the second round, he took him down, jumped on his back, and choked him unconscious. Very impressive win by Pantoja. He came out like a gangster. He came out with his hair cut, his head shaved. He came out the 50 Cent Many Men. The arena started singing along. He showed no emotion. Looked like he was pissed off and angry. Got in there and handled business like a G. Very impressive win by Pantoja. And then he called out Demetrius Johnson. Said he wants to fight Demetrius Johnson because he's the GOAT. I think that's what he said. He either said, Demetrius, I'm the GOAT, and that's it. Or he said, Demetrius, I want to fight you for the title of the GOAT at 125. One of the two. So. But again, like I was saying before, I don't know if we're ever going to see the fight, but at what point can we start stacking Pantoja's record and what he's done at 125 against Demetrius Johnson's? Ian lost apparently a close decision, The judges, all three, had it 48-47, so 1 round apart, 3 rounds to 2. I did not have it 3 rounds to 2. I had it at most 4 rounds to 1. Maybe you can give Gary that third or fifth round, but to give him both means like, you know, you were hoping for him to win a round. You know, like if it was 50-45, I would have been like, all right. If it's 49-46, all right. But 48-47, I'd have to rewatch that fight to be 100% on it, but it's not how I scored it live. And Ian definitely, I don't know how much we've seen him tested in the grappling, but we've seen Shavkat, and Shavkat was stuffed on most of his takedowns. I think it was a couple rounds before he finally got a takedown on Ian Gary. And then even Ian Gary took Shavkat down at one point. Closest to finishing the fight was Ian Gary in that last round. And I think we've seen Ian Gary move around, change his training up, training with Brazilians now in Brazil, working more on his jiu-jitsu, probably in a smaller room. He's getting a little bit more attention now than he was at Killcliff. His jiu-jitsu is probably improving by the day. So he's still in the mix. He now has a loss, but a loss to the guy who's going to fight for the title. So Ian Gary didn't lose in a decision like that. He didn't fall too far off from title contention. Especially Shavkat wins, he's there quicker. Or if Bilal beats Shavkat, Ian Gary's still a fight or two away from fighting for the title. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, definitely I think a logical next fight for Ian Gary is, I'd almost say, the winner of Colby versus Buckley. And then you can kind of line that fight up around the same time as Shavkat versus Bilal, possibly. Or, depending on how Buckley and Covington goes, if Buckley wins, I think Buckley goes a little bit close to a title shot. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. But we know what's next for Shavkat. That's going to be Bilal. I think Bilal just got cleared to start training after his toe injury or his infection. And what's next for Pantoja? Brandon Royval, they said. I think he's already beaten Brandon Royval, though, no? He's about to enter into the third lapping of the 125-pound division. I remember Anderson was getting into the lapping of that's where his direction was heading. Demetrius Johnson, that's where he was heading. I think now 125 is not as deep. So, yeah, he beat Royval. Is that who they said? Brandon Royval? He's beaten Royval twice. So he's going to have to fight Royval a third time? He just beat Royval last year in December. So, yeah. So I think, what are they going to have to do? Bring in the only guy left that he hasn't fought right now that's like a Kai is his teammate, is Horiguchi. Who would he fight next? They're going to give him Brandon Royval. How do you know it disappointed? Because of the results? If you didn't watch it. I think the fights weren't too bad, but I think the expectation was very high for this card. Batista, Battle. Brian Battle definitely robbed Randy Brown. I feel like Aljamain could have got that decision as well if he wouldn't have lost the last minute and a half, but if you're judging it on just that round, I think he won that round. And then Volkov. Volkov, Aljamain and Brian battle, but Volkov might be waiting for the judges when they walk out of the arena tonight. That's how close or bad of a robbery that was. Like, if Randy Brown or Aljamain crashed out and beat up a judge, you'd be like, all right, relax. I know it was close. It was close. I see it, but it was close. If Volkov did that, you'd be like, give him a pass. Go watch the fight. Give him a pass. Yeah, I was watching the post-fight press conference, and everybody was saying Volkov robbed. They're still saying now it's changed to justice for Volkov. So I don't think the expectations were that high. Or they were, but they also weren't. Usually when two guys have trained together, they're not going to go crazy. And then both guys kind of fight like that. I think Shavkat's a finisher. That was his first decision, but that's how Ian Gary fights. Ian Gary point fights. His fights are slow paced. But yeah, I guess you could say it disappointed. The clinch war is credit to Ian Gary's takedown defense. So Ian Gary did a very good job defending takedowns. So much so that it wore out the back of his pants because he was grinding up against the cage. He was getting cheese grated up against the cage by Shavkat. Oh, here's your boy Dana.
You got 4 performances tonight, bonuses. Kennedy Hooper, Luque, and Pantoja. Now 150,000.
Hey, Dana.
But first of all, what was your take on Pantoja's call up?
Who spent their last chance on a rear naked choke? Oh, Ian Gary? Yeah. That was close.
Is that something you would entertain? Listen, I was the one beating the drum about Demetrius Johnson a long time ago.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. What's next for 125? He's going to fight Brandon Royval a third time. He just beat him last year. And welterweight, what are we wondering? Bilal versus Shavkat.
Well, there's 2 sides to this story. You take a guy like Osakuro who came in, in the UFC your first time. We talk about the jitters, all the things that happen.
I hope Demetrius reacts to him saying that he used to sing Demetrius Johnson's praises. Because I would love to see what he says on that.
Put the pressure back on him. Who in this room didn't want to see 3 more rounds of that? It would have been amazing. It was a great fight.
I saw one thing where DJ said that he wanted pay-per-view points, and they said, we don't pay little guys pay-per-view points. But they paid the 135-pound guy and the 145-pound guy pay-per-view points. They just didn't want to pay DJ pay-per-view points. Granted, the pay-per-views weren't doing too good, so they wanted to maximize their profit, but... And then I think DJ said the most he got for a UFC pay-per-view bonus was like 100,000 or a couple 100,000.
Incredible tonight, and I don't know. What was your take on? I thought he was take on the fence in that way.
Definitely not.
What was your take on that fight?
I'm surprised that they gave Asakura a title shot. Shocked.
Landwehr versus Troy. On paper, they go in and a lot of guys start slugging it out. Sometimes they don't play out the way you think. 15-0 versus 18-0.
He's got some big wins, Asakura, but to get a title shot first fight in the UFC is crazy.
And we saw a lot of great things from both guys during that fight. It wasn't a knockdown, drag him out wood, but I will tell you this: thank God it was 5 rounds.
Thank you.
A couple other things I just wanted to ask you about. Number one, I was going to ask you this yesterday about. Is this the best year of the company history? You had 5 of the top 10 games.
in UFC history were this year 299, 363, 306, 309.
Dana's not going to answer this as the best.
Highest gate ever at a fight.
If he does, that opens the door for fighters to be like, I want more money. You guys just had your best year.
This is the greatest year in UFC history. We say this every year. Every year we say this is the best year. How do we do better next year? I mean, this is literally what we say every year. How are you going to beat this year?
Oh, he did say it.
I don't know. But yeah, guess what? Last year was the best year in UFC history. The year before that was. Let's keep it rolling.
Man, the fighters definitely need a union to get some type of collective bargaining, because I don't think the pay is going up every year the same way that the profit.
Something happens that we didn't see coming, right? And yeah, obviously financially it goes to another.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think Bilal has something for both of them. I think Bilal watching that fight was smiling ear to ear after watching it. But then the outlier in that was Ian Gary that good tonight that he made Shavkat look bad and made Shavkat look like his wrestling wasn't as good.
Again, this next coming year, we'll be 8 in the top 10.
But yeah, like people probably would have had Bilal as an underdog against Shavkat. I would have bet Bilal. I don't know, man. Bilal's good. I think you're sleeping on Bilal. You know, Bilal's on his Khabib shit right now, especially after the work he did with Khabib and just seeing the life and how he needs to be. And Bilal's good. Watch that Luque fight, and I think there was a point where Bilal's striking changed, and he started throwing a lot more caution to the wind, and it's working out for him. KO of the year in terms of the knockout itself. I don't know what you mean. I mean, does he, though? Shavkat's takedowns and his wrestling didn't look that good tonight. Ian Gary's defense looked better than I thought it was going to be, but, I mean, even that, until he started chain wrestling a little bit, that's when he was able to take Ian Gary down. But at first, he looked like he was just having one attempt, and that was it once he got stuffed. Bilal chain wrestles. I mean, maybe. I mean, Bilal could have people beating him because he's lost before. But Bilal has, I think, come into his own a little bit. And like I was saying, I think he has his game plan figured out now. He's got his training dialed in. You know, and then even we saw tonight with Shavkat, I think, and even Ian Gary, both being undefeated. If you put someone on a pedestal, they're never going to be as good as you think they are. Like we all had Shavkat up on this pedestal, but it's like once you're in the top 10, you'll look a certain way. Once you get into the top 5, you look when you try to break into the top 3, it gets a lot harder, you know? Top 5, top 3. That's when it becomes chess, and sometimes you'll get fights like that, where the consequences are, you know, the margin of error is very small. Have a good one, brother. Thank you for the conversation. Yeah. I mean, they're going to drop the ball. I know Luque called out Masvidal tonight. And I know Masvidal's just coming back, but it's going to be a striking match that he's going to want. So, I mean, they're dropping the ball if they don't utilize the footage they have of Masvidal slapping him or punching him, giving him a 3-piece on the soda. I think that's the move they got to do is, I know they're coming to Miami. If they did it in Miami, that'd be even crazier. Like if Leon Edwards came to Miami for his revenge. Who did he just say should retire?
We had a couple losses with the veterans. Played with Chris Weidman.
Oh, Dana said that he thinks Clay Guida, Weidman, and Anthony Smith should retire.
They should all retire.
And what did you make of the Crone Bryce Mitchell fight? Because then Crone's last fight, you were pretty critical of him. You said it was limited. And Crone said it was the biggest mistake.
Hopefully that becomes Dana's new catchphrase. Like, he should retire tonight. Carl Gracie should retire tonight.
So wait a minute. What's your question? So you're asking, you're saying Crone looked really limited last time he fought, and he looked limited tonight. What's your opinion on?
I didn't think it was limited tonight.
No, what did you think?
I thought had a better game fight back.
Okay. So you're like, what do you think about Weidman, this guy, and that guy tonight? I said they should retire. What do you think about Crone? Yeah. No, I don't like the way you're leading me down this road. I know what you're doing. You know the answer to the question, but you just want me to say it or something. You're saying Crone look limited. What do you think? Do you have any other questions you want to ask me? Anything fucking positive, or you want me to shit on everybody on the card tonight?
I was gonna ask a bit about Mothra. I was about
About who?
Mothra.
Look great. Congrats, man.
Dana, how did you sort the two on both of them?
I thought both of them.
My quick reading is these judges are showing bad decisions time and time again. Is there anything we can do with the commission to say, like, it's not?
So here's what happened after that fight. You heard the boos. I went over to Volkov. I apologized to him. I thought he won the fight. And then the head of the commission came over and said, listen, we feel like that second round was really close. And, could have gone either way. And both guys got rocked. We thought that, we thought that, what did they, I can't remember which one they thought had the worst of it.
They should. They asked Dana what he thought of that, and he said, I don't know. I don't know what I think of that. But he didn't shoot it down.
It doesn't fucking matter what I think. It really doesn't, because at the end of the day, they decide who wins the movie, not us.
There was incidents with Rob and
Come here, Joe.
that stuff happened. I would your mindset was weak, right? Pissed off.
They just said there was an incident with Marab and a fan.
It's actually a great fight. I mean,
That's great.
it's already, Rob's that guy. He's that guy. This is his first altercation. I don't know if you guys noticed at the press conference yesterday, too. To the right, somebody yelled something. He's in the middle of conversation. He looked like he's trying to see who said that. Like what? You're going to run over there and you're going to fight this guy, too? It's the way he is. He's built that way. I don't know if you saw, but he wasn't sitting in the regular fighter section. We had to move him over. I had to move the other two guys over at our table. It's, we try to diffuse this stuff before it happens. And
So Dana White is saying that Marab is a problem.
I didn't think he'd get into a fight walking out.
You think the job he's kind of intimidated by the two-mark fighter, right? You think they're really not wanting this fight or not feel like Umar deserves it? Do you think there's some mind games going on here, or do you think Umar maybe not?
Listen, I don't think that any of these guys are afraid of anybody.
What a dumb question. On your way to what airport?
What happens when you drink rise coffee? Your body feels lighter and freer. These
There's always lunch. There's always some conspiracy against them, whether it's us or other people. We make fights that people want to see. They win or lose the fights on their own, but they are conspiracy theories. They always think that somebody is against them, and maybe that's what they need to do to have that mental thing to go out and do what they do.
Conspiracy theories. Did you tell Bryce Nixon about himself after his fight?
Yeah. He said, I love you. This is the only organization that lets us speak our mind and be who we are, and everything else.
That's great. Fuck seatbelts. Miami airport to go home. You're in Miami? I love Miami.
What do you do? Let him,
You guys do or can do to prevent that? Is there any option?
he's fine.
Dana, right there, please.
Yep. Go ahead. Let this guy. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's not the first time that that's happened going on. Is there anything you guys do or can do to prevent that? Is there any options?
He's fine. Mini Strickland. Without the mouth. What do you do? Let him buy the paper, I guess. I mean, I don't know. You can't keep fighting the fucking fans. It's going to cost you a lot to do it. It's going to cost you a lot of money, right? And, you know, I don't know. Listen, man, I say it all the
I saw you were somewhere.
time.
I don't remember you telling me that.
When I was trying, I had Islam, we took Islam,
You never told me you were going to Miami
stop worrying.
until just now, actually.
Took them out, put them at the table, moved Rob over to the other side, had Umar and his crew over in the middle, and we still had Rob. Still could, you know,
I don't think you did. I would have remembered that.
we got, I didn't even know Nate Diaz was coming.
Oh, so yeah, I was. That's like autograph mode for Ricky Bobby. I don't remember anything about that.
This much of what goes on behind the scenes. You would wonder why we do this for a living.
Dana, originally Tatiana Suarez was supposed to be on the card against Serena Jandiroba. You guys announced Strickland Duplessis 2, Zhang Weili, Tatiana. Was the reason she was pulled from the card because you guys wanted her for the title fight next February?
I have no idea. Does it matter?
No, I think it's a great fight. I'm
Thank you, Carl. We appreciate it.
Next one. You talked a lot about the critical Los Angeles getting back to where it was and being one of those markets. Obviously, going to LA, just what made now the time to finally put the UFC back to Los Angeles?
I do not remember anything even remotely along the lines of what you're talking about.
Do you guys have any plans to use any of the new just features that arena has?
None.
None of them, no.
And then finally,
I think you said you were going somewhere. You didn't say Miami,
I experienced it in
but that's cool. Florida's lovely. Probably really nice. Now you gotta go back to the cold. Why are you writing whatever? You didn't say anything to me.
If you're not going to the event,
Must have been somebody else.
people over your house, it is a very, very cool way to watch any sporting event. It's fascinating. Yep. Go ahead, middle guy right here.
Thank you so much for announcing this one Sarukian fight.
Islam versus Sarukian. Who you got?
Did you ever plan to make that tournament in Saudi Arabia?
There you go. Just gotta have a warm mindset.
Did you ever think about making that fight over there, or
If you think warm, you'll stay warm.
Well, a lot of things have to line up in timing, and if we were going to Los Angeles,
People
looking at what
in the UFC chat on YouTube on the post-fight press conference are saying that Volkov was one of the biggest robberies that they remember seeing.
the guy, the two
I don't know if I thought it was the biggest robbery, but it was a robbery. Dana said the athletic commission, after the crowd started booing, came up to him and said that they thought the second round was close and that both men were robbed. What about the third round? That's the round that came into question. They're saying that Gane won the third round? Oh, man, Dana's pissed.
those are the type of venues you're going to
I keep having to rewind because I keep missing him. I love when he yells at fan or reporters.
thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
how close was
How close was it? I mean, guys, what are you fucking? Is this tonight's stupid question night? How close was he to getting? It's not next. How close was he? I don't know. We sit in a room every Tuesday and we pick fights. He's always in the conversation. Yeah. Thank you.
Staying in the back.
Yeah. Let this guy go first. He gets jumped over here twice. Go ahead, sir.
Tu kände du tror inte det var för mig UFC i Korea and PVC.
Dana immediately regretted picking this guy. Can't understand a word he said.
So I was supposed to go to Korea this week for looking for a fight for the Korean Zombie Show.
A fucking ad.
Yes! Let's go! Yes! Go there right now, and we're figuring out another way with the zombies for the show.
Isn't there shit going on in Korea right now? What's going on in Korea right now that they told Dana White not to travel to Korea? Does anyone know? I respect that about Gon. What's crazy shit you saw? I like that Gon was conscious of that. He didn't win that fight. Oh, crazy shit in North Korea? Kim Jong-un? What's he doing? I love the interview with Kim Jong-un.
It's been fun. They did 2.9 million views last night. Obviously, it was super successful, inside the arena. And yeah, I'm excited to go to Saudi, and we're about to announce a couple of new big deals in the power slap in the next month or so.
Just one more. Vinny Pazienza was announced as a 2024 International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee. You know that you inducted him.
They're inducting Vinny Pazienza into the Boxing Hall of Fame.
I love that guy, and
What do I do to you?
I know it was very important to him. He wanted to be inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame before, passing away. So he's ecstatic. I'm really happy for him, and it couldn't happen without him.
You ever see Bleed for this? The Vinny Pazienza movie? Great movie. Well, what's that guy's name? I don't pay attention to what? What the fuck is that guy's name? Miles Teller. Was in the Vinny Pazienza movie, Bleed for this. Great movie. 2 thumbs up.
So we were just talking in my room, and he's saying now that in Japan,
I don't know what I'm not paying attention to, but
first one,
I disagree.
So that's exciting. There's such a rich history of MMA in Japan, and some of the best days of my life were a rivalry with Brian, and it was a really fun time in my life. So, and it is too. We were talking about it. So the answer is yes. It's all about it. And I'd love to go do a fight night there too.
Oh, we got no interest in the atomweight division. Well, the women's atomweight division or the men's?
I don't disagree. Yeah.
So UFC flyweight Charles Johnson, he's starting a slap fighting promotion. I know he spoke to you about it. He hopes it could be like a place to recruit fighters for power slap. What do you think?
Then Cejudo, possibly. Yes. The same way Conor doesn't go down as a featherweight GOAT because he jumped out as soon as he won the belt. I feel like Cejudo didn't spend enough time at flyweight to even do anything really to, his 125 career is almost like Cody Garbrandt's 135 career. Not that he went on a losing streak at 125, but that he had this huge win and then nothing happened after it. Cody didn't move up. He started losing, but I'm saying in the sense that you beat Demetrius Johnson, you don't move up, you stay down there at 125, and you would have been the GOAT at 125 if you would have kept winning.
I commend him for doing that award show. I know that is cheap. It's not easy. He lives in England, and it's a good night.
But I think Pantoja is definitely a better flyweight than Cejudo, more credentialed. I mean, if Cejudo goes back down to 25, there's a fight. But that cut to 125, cut to 125 is terrible for him. But that might be the only thing left for him is possibly Cejudo dropping down to 125. Otherwise, he's fighting Brandon Royval for the third time. What's the other one? How many times has he fought Brandon Moreno now? You know, Pantoja's about to get into his third lap. Or he's going to start praying that his past opponents win and stop. Or he just needs contenders. You know, Figueiredo's not coming back down. 1, 2. He's going to fight Moreno for a third time now. A fourth time. Didn't they fight on the show? So he's just going to keep fighting Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval. I think Cejudo needs to go vegan, go on a diet, and go back down to 125. That's the only fight that Pantoja has left. Or, I mean, I listened to Chris Weidman on Demetrius Johnson's podcast, and he doesn't seem like he's interested in fighting anymore, coming back.
Translate to him that I just said that about 5 seconds ago. Yes, sir. I would love to do a fight night there. Do you understand that? Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
Go ahead, kid. What's up?
I want to see that again.
Yeah. Translate to him that I just said that about 5 seconds ago. Yes, sir. I would love to do a fight night there. You understand that? Yeah.
Dana is not having a good time with the media tonight. It's great. I hope other people ask him stupid questions.
I don't know when.
But I like Cejudo going back down to 25. Instant title shot. If they're giving Kai Sakura instant title shots, Cejudo, instant title shot. Go back down to 125. Bro, DJ's 38. Let that man retire.
They're canceling a lot of shows. I know that a lot of guys that are supposed to fight aren't fighting.
Has the PFL canceled some shows?
When you see that start to happen, you're running out of money. Things aren't looking good, and you're going to have people that want to jump ship. You know, these guys want to fight. You have a very limited time.
Oh, there she is. Jones Jacek. Jones J. Chuck. The bitch. Joanna Jones J. Chuck. Who's next for the post-fight presser? And do they speak English? Shavkat. They do not speak English. Is that ear thing real on TikTok? Has anyone had any experience with that? The ear thing that translates instantly?
On the victory. Was Ian Machado Gary more difficult than you remember from your sparring days?
Стреляешь победой, он был сложнее, чем ты помнишь его вперед.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
The fuck, Joe? What are you doing, man?
He had the choke on you. How close was it at any point? And were you surprised that he was able to get you into that position?
Лежал тебя удушающим какое-то время. Насколько это было сильно? Как получилось так, что он тебя смог перевести в позицию?
To be honest, I don't remember. You know about this.
Bro,
Were you surprised
the
by the takedown defense?
what would you call those? The closed captions for Shavkat when he's speaking in Russian as they are translating it to English is amazing. Let me rewind that. Let me rewind that.
Так что он тебя смог перевести в позицию.
So he said, he didn't say this, but it said, but many Mexicana and rice is over. Mom and pop all there was musicians and football and major. That's not what he said. That's what the
Were you surprised by his takedown defense?
that's what the AI thinks he said in English.
Put him on the ground. It took a lot of effort from you. Did his takedown defense get better since you last worked with him?
Удивило тебя, как хорошо он защищался от твоих тейкдаунов. Тебе достаточно долго заняло все-таки его перевести. Насколько тебя удивило, как...
That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Adding it, getting it. Him was out. Actually, the boo boo is the one on the meaty symbol at. That's funny. All today in the cushy, did you? Adam was great takedown defense. That's funny.
Obviously, you respect him a lot for his ability, but does it hurt? Is there any point to regret you weren't able to keep the finish streak alive?
Понятное дело, что ты уважаешь его за его навыки, но...
Was not able to keep the finish streak, but he did show he can go 5 rounds hard.
Серию из того, что заканчивает тебя там. Последнее у тебя получилось face-to-face с Мохаммедом. Как ты думаешь, как близок ты к тому, чтобы биться против него за титул?
A dumb question. Why would you use your question to ask you? Did you know his shorts were ripped? What an idiot.
Showtime, I'm wondering just when you look back at everything with the weigh-ins, just what did influence you to have that reaction with it seemed like you guys were very cordial because of the смотреть всю неделю, в принципе, вы достаточно хорошо относились, а потом почему-то на церемониальном взвешивании ты его толкнул. Почему так произошло, что тебя подвинуло так много?
Yeah, just been on the level I just got in the old gym. I'm definitely I didn't plan it, you know, it was my face. I had one over on stage side.
And then in the arena and all week, there were many fans with the Casa flag, with the same headwear.
Thank you, Danny. I appreciate it.
That reception, you know, you're obviously not from America, but here in Las Vegas, so many fans, very vocal with their support for you.
Has anyone tried those translators, the ear to translate? If I got one and I put it on Russian or Kazakhstanian, whatever they speak in Kazakhstan, would I understand what Shavkat was saying? Joe, what are you doing? Yoga? You've seen what? The translator earpieces? Have you seen them in person or you seen the videos that I've seen? Because that doesn't tell me they work. I need to know if they actually are tried and proven. Yes, the ones that look like an earbud. Have you ever really seen it work, or are they like a fake video? Yeah, just that's what I'm saying. I wonder if those are just like a money scam and they're gonna be gone next month. You know, like right now they're just a thing. Quick money grab by somebody who got a bunch of them. There's too many vids about it, so I think it works. I might look into one. They don't seem too expensive. And imagine if they work. What do you think? And the people in this chat, what do you think about them closing TikTok? Apparently it passed and the TikTok is done in January unless they can get a lawyer to go in and get the Supreme Court to step in and halt the shutdown of TikTok. And they're trying to set it in motion that it gets banned right before Donald Trump takes office. So there's no way Donald Trump could do anything about it. Or trying to make it so Donald Trump can't do anything about it. I think it gets banned on the 19th or the 20th, and Donald Trump gets in the 21st, I believe. They've been saying it for a while, but it had to go through the legal process. And then the company that owns TikTok has probably been spending millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in lawyer fees and court fees and all types of shit to try to avoid what's going to happen and to litigate Congress. You know, that's probably a pretty penny. But yeah, YouTube and TikTok need to band together. Not the companies, the fans, the people who follow it. Why do you say it's probably happening? Just because, or some information that you've received? It'll be your out for what? Oh, just because? Why you want to get off this app for? You could just be out any day if you really wanted to. You're over it. Why are you over it? I thought you were a semi-professional TikToker and amateur tattoo artist. See what she's doing right now? If I stop. All right, she's good. Mhm. Do you think Shavkat beats Bilal, or does Bilal beat Shavkat? That's the question now. And when do they fight? 3 months from now? 4 months from now? Oh, I was about to say my YouTube froze and his head was down. I was like, it looks like Shavkat just fell asleep at the press conference. Well, if you had to choose, gun to your head, if you had to choose Bilal or Kamzat, or no, Bilal or Shavkat, gun to your head. Do you think Bilal wins or Shavkat wins? Bilal. Pretty sure I don't even know if he said last question or they just asked him a question and Shavkat just looked in his phone and walked off. Is what it looked like. Good for him. Fuck those people. Anthony, did you win anything tonight? George who? John Jacek? Pokemon card George? The Call of Duty Bandit? How much did he win? It's always nice. Ah, I guess you could say he sold. I feel like he got robbed, but close fight. Fighting's tough sometimes, especially when you leave it in the hands of the judges. I do not think Battle won that. I mean, not a lot happened in two of those rounds, but are we really going to score significant, or are we going to score pushing someone against the cage and controlling them over any significant strikes landed in the round? I feel like Randy landed the better significant strikes, even though there weren't a lot of them. But I definitely think that Randy Brown got robbed. I could see a case for Aljo saying he got robbed. He, if anything, gave it away, losing that last minute and 30 seconds. But if it's a 5 minute round and you won the first 3.5 minutes, I think if that round was judged just by itself, Aljamain won that round. And then Volkov got robbed. I could see it being Shavkat overrated, or the expectations are just really high, or did we see a really good Ian Gary tonight? I know Ian Gary changed up his training camp. Not so much the striking. I thought his striking, he was struggling getting combinations off. But the grappling. Did Ian Gary really up his grappling game? Training at Killcliff, the room's very big. I don't know how much personal attention he's getting from the higher level guys that he could have help him. He's in Brazil with a smaller team now, training with Damian Maia, Ian Gary. I mean, not Ian Gary. What's his name? Charles Oliveira. Some really high level MMA jiu-jitsu guys. So maybe he's getting a little bit more hands-on attention. His game's improving. I'd love to ask Usman that question of how rounds versus him and Khamzat or Shavkat went. I've seen Ian Gary speak very much about how he wants to fight Usman and this and that, so I don't know how those rounds went either, but I think Usman is better under the lights than in the gym. But I do think that Bilal is underrated, and I think maybe you could say Shavkat's a little overrated. But I think Bilal, people sleep on Bilal. And I think since he trained with Khabib, his whole game changed a little bit. And now he's got a zoned-in game plan of just be Khabib. Do what Khabib does. It's hard to stop. And I think that Sean Brady fight showed how good Bilal is. Not even the Leon Edwards fight, the Sean Brady fight, because I think Sean Brady's really good. And the way he walked down Sean Brady and fucked Sean Brady up. And then you do have the Leon Edwards fight, too. You could say it was an off night for Leon, but I think he just did what Usman did before the kick came. And then the rematch, I think Usman had been knocked out and just wasn't the same person. Needed to find himself, which I think he started to find himself in the second and third round of that Khamzat fight. I mean, I'm going to root for Merab. I consider Merab an acquaintance, friend of friends. I am going to root for Merab, especially because how Georgia has always been like the little brother, if you will, or abused by Russia. And I feel like Umar and all that group kind of pick on or shit on Merab. So I'm going to root for Merab, but tough fight. Umar's definitely good, capable of beating him. We've never seen Umar lose. We've seen Merab lose. But I think Merab is coming to his own now. That if he goes in there and does what Merab does, he's going to have better cardio. I could see the third, fourth, and fifth round, Merab on top of Umar. I mean, no. It's definitely not too soon for the UFC to put Peyton on the main card. They had fucking Nate Landwehr on the main card tonight. And Kron Gracie. Kron Gracie with his name, absolutely. But even Bryce Mitchell being the second fight, I think Peyton has a way higher ceiling than all four of them. That was part of my problem with Nate Landwehr and Choi. Choi looked good tonight, though. His ceiling seemed like it went up a little bit, but he's 33. I feel like Aljamain and Ivovov had a way higher ceiling than any of those four. Bryce Mitchell or Kron and Nate Landwehr and Duho Choi. So those fights, if you're going off merit, should have been on the main card. But Peyton Talbot, possible future of a division. He's definitely going to have those fights to get into the top 8, top 5. I don't know what Talbot is. Talbot ranked yet? I'd have to look that up. Definitely Aljo and Mosfar. I don't know about Reyes Smith, but they could have easily put Reyes Smith above either of those fights. What'd you think of Anthony Smith though tonight? That was tough to watch. I've lost friends before too, and it's definitely tough to see him dealing with it right in the middle of a fight. It looked like, especially because I know the guy was his coach. It seemed like he caught that kick. He caught the kick of Weidman, or not Weidman, of Reyes, and something went through his head that he just shut off. That he just stood there, kind of waiting for Reyes to shut him off. Yeah, Dana at the post-fight press conference, they asked him, "What do you think about Clay Guida, Weidman, or Anthony Smith?" And he said they all need to retire. I think once you're up that high, unless it's heavyweight. Heavyweight's the only division where I want to see 36, 37, 38-year-olds still trying to compete at the highest level. At that point, you're just taking brain damage. Gracie, especially to lose like that, that's got to be it for Chrome Gracie. And what's crazy is I feel like Chrome Gracie, I get you're doing it for, your legacy, whatever, but he can make just as good of money probably doing jiu-jitsu. Yeah, alluded to, didn't say it. He said that he doesn't think they should do anything. They should retire. But I think the guy asked, "Are you going to offer them fights?" And he said they should retire. So they still might. That kind of leaves the door open for they could all make their case for, "Come on, man, give me one more. Just give me one more." I mean, my breakdown of Islam Arman would be watch the first fight. I think that it goes a lot like that, only 5 rounds. And then Arman lost the first fight, so he's got to press the action in the rematch. Islam, kind of like Pantoja tonight, as you start to turn into a dominant champion, you got to show up every night. The expectations are high, and you're going to be facing the best version of that guy, more than likely. You're going to get him in his Buster Douglas mode, where to you, it's just another night. To him, it's the biggest night of his life. So you got to show up. Islam, rematch versus Arman, he's already beaten him. He is going to have pressure on him to just do what he did last time, but more impressively. So all the pressure is going to be on Islam that night. On Arman too, but not as much as Islam. Because I think Islam is going to have a tougher fight on his hands. 5 rounds this time. And remember, Arman's young. I'm pretty sure he's still young. Let me see how old Arman is. Like, Arman's going to be coming. I think at some point, any day now, you could say that what's-his-name's going to start getting old. Islam's got a lot of wear on him, a lot of fights. So he's 28, Arman. What is Islam? Again, Father Time is undefeated. At these lower weight classes, it's not like heavyweight, where heavyweight, you're 35, 36, 37, you're still in title contention, you're still, Islam's 33. So realistically, Islam's got like another year or two before he starts slowing down, fading a little bit, at most. So, I mean, the 33-year-old athlete versus the 28-year-old athlete, I might be leaning towards the 28-year-old athlete. Like, that's what I think, if anything, Islam's got to move up. The weight cut probably hampers him a little bit. He's definitely big for 155. I think he started to look like he was slowing down against Dustin Poirier. Super fight with Ilya, or I think he'd move up. I think he'd fight Bilal. I know they're friends, but they're not friends like that. I mean, he could entertain Ilya coming up, but I mean, if the UFC's smart and Ilya wants to do that fight, they should try to push that fight, because that fight would be huge internationally. I think Ilya has Spain and Georgia backing him versus Russia. It'd fall into the same lines as Merab and Umar. There's some deeper tension there that we don't, Americans don't know about. Oh, they did say they both wouldn't. I'm pretty sure Bilal, I've heard say like he wouldn't be interested, but I've never heard Islam. But then again, Islam doesn't speak much, but I could see them being Muslim brothers on that sense, but I don't think they're that close. I know they trained together for a camp or two, but I know Bilal's in Chicago and been training there. And I'm pretty sure he asked Khabib to be in his corner again, and Khabib said no. But yeah, I like Bilal against Shavkat, especially what I've seen tonight. You know, obviously I'm going to think Ian Gary looked better than I thought he was, but, you know, wrestling's wrestling. I saw some holes tonight. I think Bilal is a better chain wrestler than Shavkat, or at least what I saw tonight. I saw someone say earlier that Bilal would have trouble taking down Ian Gary. I don't know. You know, I'm just going to go off body type. Bilal looks stronger than Shavkat. And then I'm going to go off what my eyes have seen. I feel like Bilal would have the strength advantage in that fight. But yeah, Merab and Umar is definitely going to be on a big scale. You could see that there's a chip. Everyone was saying, or people are insinuating that Merab is scared of Umar. No, Merab had a valid point. Merab had to fight, and his take on it was, I had to fight 10 times to get to this title. I had to go on a 10-fight winning streak to get a shot at the title. You haven't beaten anybody in the top 5 yet. Like, you need to go through the same gauntlet I went through. What did Merab had to beat? Like 5 former champions before he got a title shot, or 4 former champions? That's crazy. Merab, before he got a title shot, had to clean out the top 5. And now, granted, you could say because Aljamain was champion, but even no, he had to wait a little bit. Who'd they give the fight to first? Cheeto Vera. And then they were definitely talking about other fights for O'Malley. They did not want to give Merab the shot. You know, is Merab, or what's his name, is Umar more deserving than, say, Corey Sandhagen? Has Corey Sandhagen lost recently? Oh, absolutely. It's definitely not an easy fight. No, but I think when people are saying Merab's scared, I think Merab's take was, no, 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 you have to fight 10 fights. Like, I want a different fight. But yeah, it's funny that Dana said that. At the post-fight press conference, Dana said that Merab is is his new Sean Strickland, but without the trash talk. But Sean Strickland in the sense that he's going after fans, he's got to worry about them, he always hears something. Maybe. Emotions could definitely fuck you up. It's never good to fight with emotion, but then for some people, it's what makes them win, you know? Like, even I think they say that kind of about John Jones, that John Jones has to kind of put a chip on his shoulder. Like, even he did it with Stipe, where it was like, you talked about my kids. Stipe was like, what the fuck you talking about? I didn't talk about your kids. And then even John Jones was like, I remember seeing him say something about it. I remember it so well. And I think it was probably something Stipe said that he took out of context to make it about him and put the chip on his shoulder. You know, sometimes fighters got to do that. Some fighters want, you know, Zen-like and get in there and try to be a ninja. Other fighters want build up some animosity. But I think Merab is taking it to deeper levels. He's taking it to it's not Umar versus Merab. It's Georgia being oppressed by Russia. Oh, never mind. I forgot about that fight. Umar beat Corey Sandhagen. How was that fight? So yeah, I would actually say Umar is deserving now. I forgot about that fight. Oh yeah, Merab's definitely an underdog on the books. I totally forgot that he fought Corey. But I do know that that was the sentiment that he was saying. Was that Umar did not deserve the fight yet. But if you're beating Corey Sandhagen, I think you're right there. But yeah, now that has me wondering, like, who was Merab trying to fight? That he was saying Umar didn't deserve it. Rematch with Peter Yan or O'Malley? Because Umar's number 4. Mario Batista does not deserve a title shot yet, especially if Mario Batista would have finished Aldo or looked good doing it. I actually thought he lost that fight, or that fight could have went either way, if I'm not mistaken. My favorite thing about Merab versus Peter Yan was he mauled Peter Yan so bad that after the fight, Merab goes to shake his hand and Peter Yan like flinches and like goes to down block, like gets ready to start defending the takedown. Yeah, he fucked Peter Yan up. And even there, I feel like, granted, Peter Yan's not Umar in the grappling department, but that was another case of Russia versus Georgia and Merab putting a chip on his shoulder and the emotions working for him going a little bit harder, I think. So that's what I think we're going to get with Umar versus Merab. You know, I don't know if that chip on his shoulder is a bad thing for Merab. I think it actually works to his benefit. You know, like I said, sometimes people need that. You can go look at the GOAT. That's what the GOAT does. Have you ever seen John Jones not have it like that? The couple times where he kind of had respect going, those were his lackluster fights. Anytime you saw someone kind of trash talk John Jones and it get to that point, John fucked them up. And that's a real thing. So yeah, I think that post-fight press conference might be wrapped up. I don't know if we got anybody else coming out. I would have loved to actually hear from Cyril Gane to see what he thought. And then they interviewed Ian Gary. I think that from now on, if they could, they should interview. I mean, it would be a longer press conference, but we want to hear from these guys. They should interview the losers, whoever wants to speak. Give them 10, 15 minutes. Give them a couple questions. And the winners. I'd love to hear Volkov. I need to hear if Volkov, his facial expressions was that he got robbed, but I'd love to hear from Volkov and Gane. I'd love to hear from Aljo, Evovlev through a translator. Randy Brown, what he thinks about that fight. Definitely tough. Tough night with the judges. Tough night for Volkov. I'm sure Aljamain thought he won. I'm sure Randy Brown thought he won. Craziness that O'Malley got a 48-47, though. I did not see that. Come on. Don't stop barking at me, Joe. Don't stop barking at me. Come here. Jesus didn't lose. Joe. Get out. Get out, Cannonball. Crazy dog. But great night of fights, Joe. I was entertained. But I'm a diehard, so even when it's a scrappy, up against the cage, pummeling for position, trying to use techniques, I like that a lot more than a Nate Landwehr type of fight. But Doo Ho Choi looked good tonight. I think they could roll him versus Bryce Mitchell right into an upcoming pay-per-view. If not, trying to put Bryce Mitchell higher, but the way that Bryce Mitchell got knocked out by Josh Emmett, he's got to work his way back up. Do you agree that if Umar beats Merab, he can be more dominant than Islam? I think he would be. I think Merab or Umar could be dominant at 135 because the only thing that you have, I mean, you do have Hail Mary submissions, but the only way you're beating either one of them is to knock them out, to catch them. Super good fights. I agree. I was entertained. But I could definitely see if he already beat Sandhagen, I think Umar beats O'Malley. I think Umar versus Peter Yan could be interesting. You know, Peter Yan, once he went on that losing streak that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, started with O'Malley, he kind of showed that he's human, and I think his aura went away a little bit. But there was a time when you seemed like he was the boogeyman for anybody. But I'd be interested to see him versus Umar at some point. You know, Mario Batista didn't look great against Aldo, but he's won a lot of fights in a row, 15-2. He's definitely in there as a contender, but I think Umar would beat him. I mean, Figueiredo just lost. Marcus McGee is number 12, still needs to win a couple fights. Kyla Phillips just lost. Cejudo's on a 2-fight losing streak. Nor would I think he fight Umar. I think either one of them. I think the dominant grappler at 135 is where it's at right now. You know, we saw it with Aljamain. I think, and you guys can disagree with me, but, you know, I'd be interested to hear anyone's take on it. I think Aljamain beats O'Malley 8 times out of 10, 7, maybe 9 times out of 10. I think O'Malley got a little bit lucky that night. He caught Aljamain reaching, putting himself out of position, capitalized, caught him with a right hand, but I don't think that happens every time. I think Aljo beats him more times than that. So I think it's proven grapplers dominate at 135. You know, what's his name? DJ was very well-rounded, but very good grappler. Cejudo, wrestler. You know, it's tough to get to the top without wrestling at 135. So I'm really curious to see how Umar versus Merab plays out. So Merab has grappled everybody. Is Merab, with his gas tank, going to be able to grapple Umar? I don't know. Diego's looked really good. I thought he looked good against Brian Ortega, but I think that also could have been a case of Brian Ortega's, you know, I don't want to say on his way out, but on his way to the bottom of the division or the bottom of the top 15. One of the funniest things I saw a video, well, funny but stupid, like a stupid fan, but it made me laugh, was at the end of the fight with Diego Lopez, Brian Ortega, as he was walking to the back, someone yelled to him, like, that's why you lost Tracy Cortez, too. And he went from walking straight, going into the back, to just turned and went for the fan. And then they asked Dana at the press conference, apparently Merab, when he was walking out with apparently 2 interactions. One thing where Merab got into it with a fan at the press conference yesterday, and Dana said that he was sitting up on stage and someone had screamed something at Merab, and Merab turned and started scouring to see where the fan was, as if he's going to go after the fan. And then tonight, apparently, when he was walking out with Aljo, something happened, and he went after a fan or another fighter or something. And then there was the whole thing with him and Umar yesterday. Let me talk to you, brother. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. So Merab's crazy. Merab is a crazy man from Georgia. I think that's what we're seeing now. Dana said it pretty well. That's his Georgian Strickland, just without like the mean mouth and the gift of gab. You know, Merab's funny. Merab's a crazy man. So Matt Frevola, the UFC lightweight, has a party called FrevFest every year. There's videos of where they rented a big party tent, and I don't know if someone else did it or whatever, but Merab climbed up to the tippy top of the party tent and started doing like dance moves and pull-ups, and, you know, who knows fucking how he got down. But Marab's a crazy man. I've always heard stories of Marab being a crazy man. Yet there is a video out there where a fan says like "fuck you, Marab" or something, and he's like, "What'd you say?" And he runs and starts scaling the bleachers to go up after the fan. And at first, I think the fan thought it was fun and games, but it's like, no, Marab's fucking crazy. Marab's going to get in your face and might grab you. I don't know if he's going to hit you, but he's going to get close to you and say, what did you say? What the fuck did you say? You know? Yeah, Marab's a crazy guy. I like Marab. Absolutely going to be rooting for Marab against Umar. Met Marab a few times. Never got to party with him. But I like Marab. I'm happy to see Marab with the belt now. I'm happy to see him getting his due. But yeah, you could tell. I mean, it's funny because I know Dana likes Ray Longo. I know Dana is a friend, good friend with Matt Serra. Doesn't really like their guys. He liked Weidman, but he doesn't like Aljo. He doesn't like Marab. You could just tell. I guess because he makes his job a little harder with Marab being crazy and Aljamain asking for a raise, wanting better, more money, turning down fights. And when I say turning down fights, delaying his comebacks from injuries. And then also, wanting to maximize his earning power, which is the same thing we're seeing John Jones do right now. UFC does not like when Dana White has to answer questions about you or when you ask for more money and want to renegotiate a contract. Probably hates nothing more. Probably hates nothing more than when a fighter says, I want more money or I want to renegotiate my contract. But yeah, I don't know what's next. Definitely, I saw. Now, when I looked at it, I'm kind of like, what the fuck, Pantoja? You just called out a 38-year-old, a retired 38-year-old. Let Demetrius Johnson rest. But even I was listening to him talk to Weidman, and they both were complaining about how, training's not the same, and they're old, and they're hurting from training, and, I don't think DJ comes back. I don't want to see 38-year-old DJ come back. The history of combat sports, UFC is still young, but the history of combat sports with boxing shows that when the 38-year-old comes back for a payday, doesn't go well. When the retired fighter comes out of retirement for another fight, doesn't go well. The only time I can think of it in recent memory where it went well was GSP, and Bisping gave him a tough fight that night. Had him bloodied up, had GSP breathing heavy, and we never saw GSP again because of how that night went. Even though he won, he acknowledged that it was harder than he thought it was going to be, and Father Time caught up to him. Then before you knew it, he's fucking 40-something now, and he's never coming back. I don't want to see 38-year-old come out of retirement to fight. If he's coming out to fight another 38-year-old, maybe. But what is Pantoja? Pantoja's 34, but Pantoja's, I feel like, still in his prime for another year or two. Definitely don't want to see 38-year-old come out of retirement. And even if he just retired recently, he wasn't fighting the same level of competition and that meat grinder that is the UFC. He wasn't cutting the 125. Because in one, they have the hydration clause and all that. They're actually making, I think, 135 and calling it flyweight. But yeah, I don't need to see DJ come back. You're only the best week. So Pantoja, you want to fight DJ? All right. Best we could do is you just keep defending your title and you could chase his record. That's all we got for you. If you want, you can move up to 135. Try to become a double champ. I don't know if Pantoja could do that, though, at 135. I feel like it'd be small. But again, I think you see it with Aljamain, and then you see it with I'm trying to think of other guys who didn't just move up a weight class, moved up to like a high level. I guess GSP, John Jones. When you're a champion, you can kind of fluctuate between weight classes, and it doesn't matter who you're going to fight. You're going to fuck them up. Like even Aljamain tonight, Evloev is arguably the boogeyman, the gatekeeper at 145 that no one wants to fight. So like beating him and Aljamain fighting could easily be a title contender fight or a title fight.
Oh, okay. Congratulations on the win, first of all.
Now they got Pantoja out.
Do you think that puts you in a different category now once you make three title defenses in the UFC?
Hood Pantoja. And even that, I don't know why I felt like he was at more. He's only had 3 title defenses. Yeah, 3 title defenses. You're definitely not in the conversation yet, my guy.
She bring me another guy, another champ for all across the world, and I finish him. That fight makes sense. That's what the fight makes sense, you know. And that the fight
Calm yourself down, Joe.
American, Japanese, everything's changed, you know. You have all the good fighters all across the world. And times like now is so hard to keep the belt.
I mean, I guess another Brandon Moreno fight, but Brandon Moreno just lost. Brandon Royval, Steve Erceg. You know, he's still got some people to lap.
I respect him. I love him because he opened all the doors for us.
Even that fight with Brandon Royval versus Moreno. Very close.
I don't but he's older now, he's been retired, and now he's been at the top like he was at one point. So what would you get if you fought him and beat him? Do you think you would gain anything from that?
One thing I noticed with this card tonight, just from my numbers in the live and the traction that I saw on any posts that I made, was this was not that big of a card, or not the biggest of cards. I feel like UFC 309 was a lot bigger. More people were tuned in to see John Jones than were to see Pantoja.
Guys, if we be EI for make that, maybe people go crazy after that. EI, that's AI, sorry, AI.
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? He kept saying EI, EI. He meant to say AI.
Like I say, I fight some Australian, Mexican, Japanese, American, and I prove myself. I prove I'm the best of the best, you know. That's what I want. That's why I'm keep fighting. And that's why I want to fight the Menace Johnson, you know. I give him 6 months if he needs to go back, or 8 months, I don't know. But he can
6 months, 8 months, he'll be fucking 40 by the time. You give him 6 to 8 months. Just leave Demetrius retired, please. He's happy in retirement. DJ is happy in retirement. Leave that man alone.
but I think he do a lot about my hands. I feel him. He threw my hands. I threw very good kicks in his ribs, you know. And but of course, he's up for the different division, you know. Of course, he's up for the ground weight. That's so nice because all the guys that compete in fight that what's nice about him right now. We have so many good guys fighting together. But and he evolved my game a lot. You know? I think he has tonight. Everybody can see that. You know how much I'm involved, how much comfortable I feel in the octagon. And he did that for me. You know, he reached me to another level.
It seemed like your striking was really good because you backed him up a lot, especially early on in the fight, right? Is that kind of the game plan to say, hey, we're not going to let you come forward and start fighting back, we're going to put the pressure on you?
Tonight, I showed to everyone how to say. I'm happy to strike, grappling, my rest.
I agree, Pantoja. You absolutely showed how good you are.
I think time that's so big, there is what the fuck, I'm talking about the first round. I did like 50 rounds, and I did 7 times guys on the arm. More dangerous place on the world. And then my coach told Mark, say, these are too much of a little break. Don't make it fight all the time. And everybody sees how good that break makes me much better. I find my comfort zone, I keep training for one guy. My training camp is so good. I make like a 6 month training camp. But of course, my coach don't want that, but I want to fight.
My last question to you, Alexandre, is you've been a great fighter most of your career, but you really elevated your game in your early to mid 30s, right? That's rare. Like usually in the mid 30s, you're going the opposite direction. Do you think that's attributable to your coaching? Is it attributable to your conditioning and the fact that you take care of your body better, or is it just now that you kind of eventually decided, hey, I want to be great, and it's made the commitment to do whatever it takes?
Yes, of course. I think my choice, the choice that I made.
Kevin Iole really just asked him, did you like just all of a sudden decide you want to be great?
Like a fighter, I think I grew like a man. First thing, I mean, it grew me like again, my curiosity about how to be a man, how to be a good person, how to be a good father. And when I figured out that, you see the fighter, it's not just like a try to be a good fighter and doesn't matter everything else. I think it's much more behind the octagon. My family too. My wife makes me so much a good man. My kids make me so much a good father. And I think it's all connected. If you try to be a good person, you try to be a better father, better husband. Things like that happen in my life. The guys say something about money, something about $2 million fight. Yeah, that's great because it's not about money. Like I don't fight for money. I fight to prove
So
myself.
Demetrius Johnson tweeted that he turned down 2 million, I guess from one. Let's see.
I can pay my bills, my kids in a good place. But I don't fight for spending money. If it's just not about money, but it's about that.
Guys, I got offered $2 million to fight. I turned it down. I don't care to fight anymore. YouTube video dropping soon.
You can't come to it's not about money, but it's about legacy.
It's not about legacy. I see Pantoja saying it's about legacy. It's not about legacy when you've been retired and you're 38 and you retired as the GOAT. What are you going to call him out when he's 50? Do you want someone calling you out when you're fucking 40? When you retire, you retire. I hate the idea of fighters coming out of retirement.
They look pretty good, make amazing fight. He's so good and makes me train so much for him. And he involves my game. All my thank you. I should say thank you for him because he makes me involved so much. And I think that tonight everybody can figure out that how much I'm involved. Like a fighter, I put that, make an amazing first round, and the second round I put the chance, finish. And I'm learning much more. I have so much more to learn. I prove myself like a fighter, but I'm still learning about how to
Every patient has a story of strength and courage. We're inspired by these stories every day.
And I'm not saying that just for me, you know. I say that because I work with so much good people here, you know. The guy take care about my stuff, so the guy, you guys from the media. I love working for UFC, you know. This company is everything for me, you know, and I don't fight today just for myself. I fight for the company. And if it bothers you, like at the press conference, where you said like, fight more excited again. I'm the new shit. Any of it bother you, or is it just big up you? The guy say that is like a people like say the casual, you know, like it's crazy, like and I all you know I respect all the fans put it in the front line and say if you say something about some dog like that, you don't understand the MMA. You know that I've been here all the time. I'm leaving and die in the office. I made so much war. All my last two fights, like I said before, you know, I made 75 one major place all this world.
Pantoja said, "I'm here to die in the octagon."
Great people say that.
Since they don't obviously need to might not be able to come to they're looking for new fresh matchups or like Kai Car France has been calling for another fight against you. We have Charles Johnson fighting quite a bit. You know that Charles Johnson, he's ranked.
No, it's like,
He's been very active. He's had like four or five fights to fight.
you know, I think everybody has a chance, you know.
That's funny. He didn't know who Charles Johnson was.
Everybody has a chance, you know. I'm not a matchmaker. I'm a fact all the fights they got given me. I never say no to it. Never. All the guys and that. I never say no for a fight. I never gave right?
Don't start barking at me, Joe. Yeah, I mean, Pantoja's just got to sit and wait for his next opponent to emerge. Thank you, funny black man. Did you watch the fights tonight, funny black man?
I like to say that kind of friends is a huge fighter, you know. I would fight what, but like I'm not the matchmaker.
Kai Kara France is on a one-fight winning streak, but I guess when there's no one else to fight.
And that's what I want. I want to be the best UFC gives that things that a little bit between you guys. Somebody said something to you that got you a little bit annoyed. What did he say? Did that play the fire? You know, so big like that, you know, because he comes from the mental age, and I just put something in his mind, you know, like I'm not scared about you, you know,
Hood
maybe he don't understand.
Hood Pantoja came out tonight. They just asked him, "What did Kai say to you?" And he said he didn't say nothing to me. I said something to him. And he walked out tonight like a gangster to 50 Cent, Many Men, with the angriest snarl on his face, like he was ready to fuck somebody up. And then he came out and did just that.
That's great, but that's a good, such a good fight, you know, he involved my game so much. I trained so much for that guy, you know, I see, I know, guys, all the time I'm fighting, it's a 50-50%. You know, I know that all the time. When you lock someone in the octagon, doesn't matter how good you are, it's a 50-50%. You know, sometimes come the punch for nowhere and you knock them out. That's it, finish. And I have very good challenges. You know, I fight everybody.
I like Pantoja's view on fighting, that it's 50-50.
Fight all the time. That's what I want. I want to put myself on the time. And, Ataku is a so good challenge for me. I thank so much for him. But I feel tonight, I see everything. You can put whatever you want in the office tonight with me. I feel. So this one right here. Have you ever thought about taking a fight or two at 135 pounds if you're looking for more challenges? I don't know if it makes sense. You know, I want to be a lot of people. I love all things fighters.
I thought going back to school to get my education degree would be so expensive. But then I found WGU. Their program
Was so hard for everybody to see that. That's so much excited position. You know,
Pantoja is not interested in going up to 135. I don't blame him.
when you see everybody talk about how good Taira coming, Taira, and then he fights Durazal, you see a lot of fails he has. He don't have a very good striker. And then you see Albani, Moreno, and then you see Shaggy. Shaggy don't fight a lot of guys. And then Kaikara not came out. You know, that's such exciting division, you know. That's not something I'm right now, but if UFC want that, they keep me something. Your kids got wing with you for this fight, right? What was that like? And tell me kind of about my career. They educated me all my life. You know, I'm so glad to have my team. I'm not playing anything, you know, because my team's there.
Who has stolen valor? Pantoja? Oh, me? How do I have stolen valor?
One day before they fight, if you or die, you need to cut your weight. You know, you need like a.
What are you talking about? I didn't even serve. When was I trying to claim like I did serve? No, I was never in the military. Never said I did. So you would be what they call a moron.
How did you do you have just 100? 100. Yeah, my coach teaching me.
I talk back to everybody.
Never try to like finish with 100% of your power. You know, just grab there and like a go. And I hear it here like a. I say that's okay. He's there. And I know I have a time because the round just at the beginning. That's it. I just flowing. You know, I feel super good that night. You know, I worked very hard. Everybody know about my chokes, and
No, I never get any trolls. I was asking a genuine question. I never said or implied that I was in the military. For someone to say stolen valor to me, I love watching those stolen valor videos, and I think that's just fucked up.
then I make you very tight, and that makes you tired because I make you more
You know, how would
yourself.
Scott look at stolen valor? He would fuck somebody up over stolen valor. Nothing, just some guy wrote stolen valor. And I wrote, who? And he said, me. And then he said, I never served. I did not serve, but I have the utmost respect for our armed forces and our military. Almost went into the Marines, but I chose to go do jiu-jitsu. Hindsight, should have went to the Marines. Would have been fucking awesome. But I wound up with a metal leg anyway, so. But yes, Danny, one of my favorite things ever, is to actually argue and go back and forth with trolls. I've always handled trolls with any of my endeavors very well. I'm witty enough. Just might come right out, or if you give me a couple seconds, I'll usually out troll a troll. What did I call him? I didn't call him names. If he wasn't a moron, then I'd be calling him a name. But clearly he's a moron. So I was just describing his intellectual capacity. At no point did I insinuate that I was in the military or anything like that. So I think TikTok would have been on my side with that one. Plus, I'm standing up for TikTok, trying to get banned. So TikTok should love me. I'm trying to rally the troops on YouTube to come help save TikTok. But that's funny in my head too. He was like, stolen valor. I was like, where? Let's go fuck him up. Let's go fuck that guy up. Like if all of a sudden Scott was like, I got a guy who's claiming stolen valor, I'd be like, when we riding? When we going? Fuck that guy. But not me. Not me, Chief. Are you not on an airplane? Or are you on an airplane and you're so addicted to TikTok that you paid for Wi-Fi? So that way you can come back on TikTok? Because that would be impressive. Oh. Should have lied to me. I would have been happier. I would have been like, oh, wow. Let's talk about that. It was a joke. I didn't say you were addicted to TikTok. In real life. You're in what? An Uber? An Uber or a Lyft? Holy shit, it's 3:16? Fuck. I was like 6:30. Why are you going now? Oh, that's why. You are a little early. Miami Airport's dope though. I'm pretty sure they're open. Everything's open. Or most things are open right now. And I just ate a gumi. A gumi. Like my hindsight, now I'm all laid up, but I used to watch the fights. I would go out with my friend Chris and we'd watch the fights. And then I'd eat shrooms and I'd go out with my raver friends. And like right now, we'd be going to space. I would always go downtown and out drink until 3, 4 in the morning. Then I'd start to sober up. I'd eat some shrooms and I would go to space until the sun came up. It was an awesome time. Don't flag me, TikTok. I was talking about portobellos. Portobellos and stuffed with garlic and spinach and artichoke dip.
Why did tonight for my opinion for myself, that's what I want. That is so exciting. You know why? Because in the past,
Are you in an Uber or a Lyft? That's the question. Lyft's a big deal down there. Big deal. Bigger, at least I don't know how it is in Virginia, but Lyft's a big deal in South Florida. Oh, damn it. I got restrictions. Regulated goods content. What does that even mean? I told you guys, Portobello's.
get out, fights go with 2 rounds. My 2 leg fights go with 5 rounds at the time. Getting hurt after that. But definitely, I think all my body.
I was talking about Portobello's. Oh, but you could write it? Unbelievable. That's terrible. Racism, discrimination, all these things. As long as it's in your luggage, you're good. Tucked away in your luggage. You know, I've flown with other stuff before. As long as it's in your check-in. I mean, your check-in. As long as it's in a checked bag, you're straight. From Florida and even from Dallas. Oh, then you're in a different space. I mean, they might just think it's food of some kind. Don't know what the packaging looks like. But they might be, or they might, hopefully, they're like, all right, then eat it now. You can't bring it on the plane. Eat it now. And then you got to eat it now. I would never take, I probably have actually, but never like that. Like I was coming down from them and maybe got on a plane. Actually, no, never mind. I did fly one time. But freaky. Definitely a scary. I luckily just slept for the most part. Yeah, pretty much. There's a colonial woman. But yes, I enjoyed UFC 310 very much so.